Ubisoft is in for a very bad time going forward because they have two major releases this year, Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows, that have already faced massive backlash. And ahead of these releases, we're just finding out that Ubisoft has laid off a bunch of employees. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, the media has been trying to convince us that these games are going to do so well and people are so hyped for them, even though that doesn't appear to be the case. All of the teasers and trailers for Outlaws and Shadows have gotten roasted by gamers who are sick and tired of Ubisoft's low quality BS, and now we're finding out that they are laying off employees. It says Ubisoft laid off approximately 45 employees ahead of the release of Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, yes, Ubisoft is a very big company that has tons of different offices, and 45 people may not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it comes down to them clearly trying to trim the fat before they possibly have to show the losses from these two major game releases. It says a Ubisoft spokesman confirmed to Bloomberg that the difficult yet necessary decision was made to align these studios' organizations with their future business and development objectives. The layoffs reportedly hit the company's offices in San Francisco and North Carolina, but this has not been 100% confirmed. This is just what the reports are saying. It says, though, the studio in North Carolina is Red Storm Entertainment, which was working on Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland, but was scrapped by Ubisoft in May. So, yeah, that doesn't sound good. Sounds like Ubisoft saw that it was going to be a nightmare and they were like, nope, we gotta cut our losses here. We gotta scrap this project, which I know a lot of people who like The Division were pretty upset by because this had been in development for years, as far as we understood. The studio was originally founded by Clancy and the British Royal Navy Captain Doug Littlejohns in '96 and created Rainbow Six in 1998. It was acquired by Ubisoft in 2000 and they had worked on Ghost Recon, Far Cry, The Division, Rocksmith, and Assassin's Creed Nexus. So very notable things. They were not just a very small entity. They were actively creating lots of different games for quite a few of the different series they have. But it says Ubisoft detailed in an earnings press release why they were scrapping Heartland, and they said in line with the increased selectivity of its investments, Ubisoft has decided to stop development on it and has deployed resources to bigger opportunities such as X-Defiant and Rainbow Six, which, by the way, X-Defiant has been quite the failure for them. It was supposed to release years ago. It was delayed multiple times. They said it was going to be the COD killer, and well, it wasn't because they constantly delayed it. But we're also finding out that according to the Ubisoft San Francisco website, the office houses both a development studio and a business office and has nearly 500 employees working there, and they created South Park The Fractured but Whole and is working on Rocksmith Plus and X Defiant. So, of course, these layoffs are coming, right ahead of the major releases for Ubisoft that the studio is counting on to make a lot of money. And yes, when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws, so far, there has been lots of backlash and tons of gamers roasting them. And I do not think that they are going to sell extremely well. Brand recognition might be enough to sell them, which is really Ubisoft's only hope at this point. If they're not good, I hope they don't sell, because if they do make money, then it sucks for the franchises. It means that we'll just call them normies for argument's sake. The normies don't know the difference, and it emboldens companies to just create more shit, and I don't want to see that. The reason why I criticize games so much and companies and all of their decisions is because I want video games to be the best they can be. I love this industry. I love video games. It's my favorite hobby, and I don't want to see a world where video games are cookie cutter, bland, DEI BS, or not really coming out, that there's only maybe one or two massive releases a year. I don't want to see that, and I don't want games to suffer. I want them to make money. It's just the companies that need to figure out how to make money. Again, they have to start listening to us, and I do not think that these two games are going to be massive successes, and to me this screams that they are not confident in the future either. Why would a company that is extremely confident be doing all of these layoffs? I don't know. They're the ones with the predictions, they're the ones with the outlooks, and this is their response only a few months after, before you have Assassin's Creed Shadows release, but Star Wars Outlaws releasing in only 2 weeks. It just does not look good for Ubisoft, at least in my opinion. And I think it would be unfair if I didn't mention this, but the industry is going through major problems right now. A lot of companies are going through layoffs. That is not exclusive to Ubisoft, but again, they are the ones that have the numbers. They are the ones that have analysts going through the development costs, the amount of pre-orders they have, the general discussion on social media, and that know the entire picture and are telling them, yeah, it's time to go through some layoffs. This isn't sustainable. And it just screams that there is not a lot of confidence at Ubisoft right now in these projects. Only recently, back in July, the Ubisoft executives actually got evasive after investors questioned the potential low sales for Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they basically just said they have a lot of faith going forward that these games will make money. They are putting a lot on the line, but it's a risk they're willing to take, and it didn't seem to stir any confidence, at least with customers, because people have been still saying, yeah, I don't really like the look of these games. I don't think they're worth the price tag, which I completely agree with. I'm going to be streaming them because it is part of my job, but these do not look like good games. These are not games that I personally am genuinely excited for, and it's sad because I used to love Star Wars, but Disney really killed Star Wars, and we have gotten some decent products, don't get me wrong. Like, I really love Jedi Fallen Order, I like Jedi Survivor, but even those games had problems. And then when it comes to Assassin's Creed, we had years where we asked for an Assassin's Creed set in Japan, and instead of trying to give customers what they wanted, they're half-assing it. And they're like, oh, well, we'll kind of give you what you want, but we also are going to add a little bit of a DEI flair. Companies will do anything to push the narratives they want to, and it's just pathetic to see. We know that Star Wars Outlaws is going to be releasing at the end of the month and Assassin's Creed Shadows in November. So they do still have some time to try and work away at the negativity surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows. Maybe they can show us some amazing content. I just don't think that there's anything they could do at this point to win fans back over. They could try, but I think it's ultimately going to be a failure. And now that we're hearing about Ubisoft executives getting evasive after investors question these potentially low sales, and right after that, we're seeing ahead of these games launches that Ubisoft is laying off employees, it definitely does not paint a good picture. So I will be keeping my eye on this situation and Ubisoft. I don't think that there is really anything they could say or do at this point that would restore consumer confidence in them, but they are going through some big layoffs like a lot of companies within the industry, and things are looking pretty rough for them. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.